Okay, the clock says it is 7 o'clock. It also says it's Tuesday, November 22nd. So I'd like to call this November 22nd Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Do we have any citizen participation at this time? Joe?
I have some. Does somebody else have some?
Go ahead. I'll be sure.
I'd ask, since all my questions that are for things on the budget are on the budget itself,
Okay.
so I'd ask that I be able to ask them right before the budget discussion part, if that's all right.
Okay, we're not going to have a big major discussion part on the budget. But
Right, yeah. I'm going to ask my questions
Sure.
shortly, so if that's okay, I'll defer till that point, which is new business B on the.
Well, how about if you ask them now, because that way we have an opportunity to.
Okay. So, my first one is, it's an overall comment on the budget. It's notes that on the October 6th budget meeting, Jim, you made it a point that if the township needed to raise taxes, the supervisors should be able to say why. I would like to think about extending that to asking what you are doing with the taxes that you are already collecting. Why do you feel or need that we need to be taxed at the current rate, and what are you doing with the taxpayers' money? You should be justifying every expense in the budget. In 2021, the township put almost $150,000 into reserves when there is so much needing to be done in terms of township infrastructure. This board needs to either do something with our taxes we are being assessed, or don't charge us residents for it. And we, as tax-paying residents, should be given the respect from our supervisors to provide responses on why we are being taxed at the rate we are. So, following this logic, will you justify or explain the budget uses of these items that we are being taxed for when asked? So, I'm going to ask questions. Unlike last year where I had to provide you documentation and then I got no answers, I'm asking will you answer some questions on the specific items on the budget?
Where I think that they're relevant questions, John, I mean, if you just want to rehash the budget again, the board is here to, I mean, we spent numerous hours with Daisy, with other folks advising us. We're not going to revisit all the details of the budget again.
And I won't ask every detail of the budget.
And it's not a matter of every details of the budget. We've already.
Right, and you didn't answer the questions that were asked then.
You've been to those meetings. Right.
And you didn't answer them then. So that's why I'm asking if you'd answer them now, because we've seen the budget now.
Where they were, I don't want to say valid questions, where they were.
Well, don't worry, I have new ones, so we actually have a budget.
And if the board determines that it's not revisiting the whole thing over again, we'll speak to those questions. Otherwise, John, we're not going to go through it again.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to discuss guide rail. So this is bringing up what you had noted last month when, I'll say, at the last meeting, Jim, you noted that the guide rail along New Valley Road wasn't completed, not because of cost, but because you felt it was not money well spent for the taxpayer. Listening to my recording of that meeting back on August 24th, 2020, you noted that, and I will quote, "I looked at that section again and up and down the road, and me personally, I see other areas where there is no guide rail at all. Now I'm thinking, why replace what's already there, because at least we have some guide rail at that section. We are going to spend the money. Why not put it somewhere where it is not? Me personally, I'm not in support of doing guide rail, replacing that portion of it at this time." So end quote. And John Stahl only noted that he didn't want to cut down the trees and was worried about the repercussions of that with residents. So Jim, then you continued that you felt that replacing the guide rail was not worth spending the money. While cost wasn't the only issue for this installation, you were concerned about other areas along New Valley Run that didn't have guide rail. There is case law that specifically goes against your thinking. So in Cagney versus Commonwealth of PA and PennDOT, it was noted that the guide rail owner owes a duty of care when a guide rail that was installed is alleged to be dangerous. And then in Dean versus Commonwealth of PA and PennDOT, the failure to erect guide rail does not constitute a dangerous condition. This means that it is much more important to maintain the guide rail that is installed than to check if guide rail is needed elsewhere. Also, if you were so concerned, why are we not having our engineer perform guide rail needs study for the township? This way we have a roadmap of what needs to be done. I also want to remind you that in the same meeting you expressed concern with drop-offs adjacent to the roadway. Where is that concern now about up on Lambs Gap Road? And in the last meeting you said there was money in the budget for guide rail. After you take out Brad's requested $10,000 for Miller's Gap Road Shale, that leaves us with $11,000 in the budget. How much guide rail will you replace with that? That isn't just impacted due to a crash. I do want to remind you that in your budget discussions last year, there was $25,000 designated for replacing the guide rail along Lambs Gap. That was last year, which is this year now. Right now, it would be done. So why do we not do this work to mitigate these hazards? And Jim, you're in charge of public safety, and Brad, the road crew foreman, who should know about these issues as part of his job, especially with 20 years of employment as a road crew worker in this township. So will these safety issues be taken care of with the 2022 budget by a competent designer and contractor? Or will they be taken care of next year? Or will it be in the board's decision to leave it to possibly injure or kill someone? So are we finishing it this year with our budget that we had? Or is it going to be next year? Or are we just letting it go?
Is that the end of your question, Sean?
That's the end of that one. So I was running, any answer, or are we going to hold? Okay, moving on. All right, so this is actually on the budget, so if you have your budget in front of you, that would be awesome. In the revenue section, how is the ambulance and library taxes the same between prior year and delinquent? But taxes, fire company, and road equipment are nearly double between the prior year and delinquent. Aren't these revenues a percentage of the total taxes collected? So if delinquent is higher, it should be higher in all categories and not equal. So,
Is that the end of that question?
yes, that's the end of that question, yes.
Okay, we have someone else that wants to ask questions, and we have 10 minutes total, you're aware, so.
Oh, I thought it was 15.
No, it's not 15. It's
Now it's 10?
It's been said.
10. It's been 10. Always been
15.
10.
Okay,
It's
well,
been said, but
go ahead, I'll let him go. Yeah.
go ahead, Bob.
Yes, I noticed the solicitor isn't here tonight, I wish he were. Why is the bill so high for the solicitor? $5,260.
That's for 2 months.
For 2 months?
Yes, he forgot to send the bill. I thought it was lost in the mail, like our mail delivery has been not, I don't want to say nicely, but not very good. Anyway, I thought it was lost and finally he said he was supposed to send it to me electronically and forgot. So I ended up with 2 bills in the same month.
Okay. So what is the reason why we had that much for the solicitor? Is it right to
Yeah,
no
that's
request
my question. Even with the half,
or right to no request?
that's $3,000.
Right.
Is part of that due to these silly right to know requests and nuisance complaints from disgruntled people?
Exactly. That's what
People that want to run the township, take your authority away from you?
Yep. Exactly what it
Is
is.
that why we're spending all this money? I think we should get on Facebook and let the citizens know, they want to be transparent. We should let the citizens know why it's costing so much money. I think it's ridiculous that one person causes all this expense and commotion in the township. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
Yep.
The rest of your questions, John, and you're down to about 2 minutes.
That's great. Okay, so I didn't see that on the agenda, but anyway, are we now back to the budget? Are we planning on making money on the zoning hearing board meetings and other things like zoning permits? We are not to be making money on zoning hearing board and permits, and based on your budget, it seems like you are doing so.
No.
No? Then I'm just wondering why are zoning and hearing fees listed at $1,700, but the combined legal services for zoning and hearing board and zoning and hearing board expenses are only $1,450. And you have it in your thing that if it's over the amount, you can charge them more. So I'm just bringing it to your attention here. All right,
That is, there's other expenses in there too, administratively, that are not in the zoning expenses.
Go ahead,
so
John.
okay.
Next question.
Why are pass-through or self-supported things not equal in the budget? And I'll give you an example here. Payment to the fire companies not equal to real estate taxes for the fire companies. And same for the payment to the ambulance. So, I'll keep going since we're limited on time.
Take 1 minute, John.
And then you're done.
Okay, great. What is
Hey, John,
yeah,
it's not great, okay? We were clear that it's 10 minutes. Now, to be fair to everyone else,
Oh.
we're not gonna rehash
I would
previous
have-
meetings, we're not gonna rehash guide rail, which we've already talked about.
I'm bringing up other issues that I'm seeing here. So,
And John, I understand that. You used to sit up here, you
Yeah.
used to have more of a.
and I would have no problem with explaining things.
John, we don't have that.
This is why I make
We're not
right to know
gonna-
requests, because I can't get information, so I
You
have
didn't do as much
to.
when you were up there as you do now.
Time is done, we're moving on.
Give 30 seconds to finish it. Finish your question, Bill.
I'll look for one here. It's not worth it. Okay, I have one. Can we please split the zoning and code enforcement into two items? One being what we actually get for permits, and then the other one being enforcement, because then we can track these things better as a township, because I know there's not very good tracking on that aspect. So when you see things like zoning and code enforcement at a huge amount, I'm just wondering. And then my last question is, how did the road crew salary go down $3,000 in the general fund, but solid waste salaries went up in the solid waste fund last year? So how did it go down $3,000?
Okay, that's the last of your question?
I guess so, if that's all I'm getting, so.
Okay. Well, okay. Legal issues that are gonna be best handled by our solicitor. He's not here this evening, so I'm not gonna speak to the legalities of replacing guide rail.
I was
You
just letting
understand,
you know.
we
Yep.
were clear that we looked at the cost of what it would be. That guide rail that you keep talking about.
I don't care about that, I'm talking about the one that we had budget for this year.
I know, I understand, but that one keeps coming back up. That guide rail's
Mm-hmm.
been here how long?
A long time.
Long enough, but when Brad said that he hits it with the
When that
track
guide
and it
rail
moves.
was it?
That
We
makes
can
sense.
put
And
guide rail all throughout this entire township.
it isn't warranted, that's fine.
Warranted according to who? Who determines that? And also
Who?
who weighs the expense?
You could ask your engineer.
I want to ask you something, okay? You know, you always pick on the township, okay, all the time when you come in here. You never ever say one thing about the state road, okay? That guide rail over there at Holly Road, it was there for 8 months, it was down, okay? Did you ever call them and tell them to fix it while it's laying in that guy's driveway? Did you ever mention that to them?
Did
They
you?
buy that all the time.
Did you? I don't go by it. I work from home right now. Yes, because
But
my
did you
office is
ever go
closed.
by that road?
Rarely.
Rarely,
And,
okay? in 8
and I
months,
know that was a
you never
crash. That was a crash. Was it not across from Holly Road? Is that
It was a
correct?
crash,
Yes.
right.
So I'm sure the PSP was there to notify PennDOT too, correct?
Right.
So
Then,
that doesn't
what
come
you
back to
always
us
get
all the
on
time.
us, did you get on them? No.
I get on you because it's something that I
PSP
bring up.
notifies us.
I don't bring up a crash.
50 are so bad, you never say a word about that. You never mention that, okay?
Right.
If you get off the road, you're done, okay? But you
Yeah,
never
but our
say a word about that.
Our road is only that
You
weak.
always pick on the township. You have a personal vendetta against the township.
I do not. I expect our township to do better.
Hypocrite if you say you don't.
I expect our
You
township to
are
do
a
better.
hypocrite if you say you don't.
Okay, well, you can all think that way. I expect our township to do better than stick to what was put in 1990 or earlier, that's all. So
Let's move
you
on.
can continue,
Let's go.
please.
Okay. Okay, moving on to approval of the minutes. The October 2022 budget meeting minutes. I read through them, I didn't see anything that was out of line or incorrect. So we have a motion to approve those minutes from the October 20.
I'll make a motion.
Brad makes a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Sean second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. And then the October 25th Board of Supervisor meeting. I make a motion to approve. You have a second?
I'll
Sean seconds it. All in favor? All right, thank you. Those minutes are approved. Zoning code enforcement report. We have 8 to 10 items here for a total of $751.25. Put that out here.
And I think the attorney advised that because we're going to be expending fees, we make a motion to approve.
Oh, okay, thank you for that reminder. Make a motion to approve payment of that invoice.
I'll make a motion.
You make a motion?
I
Okay.
make a motion.
Sean, will you second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you, Daisy, for that reminder again. Sewage enforcement report. Five items for a total of $1,110 for this page. And we should make a motion to approve payment of this as well, so I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Road report, Brad.
We finished mowing along the roads. I had to repair me and Johnny repaired the tractor mower again. It broke another bracket. Set up for the election day in the library. Clean drains throughout the township. The trim brush at Miller's Gap and Mountain Road. Installed all the snowplow stuff on the truck, except for the one. That truck's at International being looked at right now, so we haven't got that on yet. And worked with Mark Weber on putting that pipe in out Pierce Road.
And I see they got it all installed on Mountain Road. So.
Yeah, they got that fixed, yep.
And that was completely reimbursed from
Yes, yeah.
insurance.
3 grand? 3,000?
3,000, yeah, a little over 3,000.
Nate, I'm sorry, reimbursed by insurance, you
All
said?
state.
Yep, yep.
Our insurance? Or
No, no.
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
Driver's
person who
insurance,
did it.
Hey, wait a second, we shouldn't
Got
have.
that.
And there's
Okay.
another one now that we're working on for Land's Gap or something like that. So we have,
That's the one you thought the other night, said Pine Hill for land, yeah.
Oh, was that one?
Yeah, Pine Hill don't have any road.
yeah, I know when you
That
told me
was,
that, I'm thinking, Pine Hill doesn't have any.
Oh, okay.
Pine Hill don't have to.
It's Guy Hill.
Yeah, God,
That was a call-in report, huh?
yeah, that was.
Talk to that fella.
Land's Gap.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, rec board report. No
There
meeting,
was
I
no
don't see.
meeting, so there was no.
Yes.
Robert, yes, sir.
Oh,
We did not have a meeting. However, something very, very disturbing has come up. And I know you guys know, but perhaps some of the citizens don't know. Rye Township Community Association owns that park. I'll call it RTCA from now on. And township leases that, pays this year $1,100. We pay all the expenses except the electricity that I'm aware of. And we had borrowed a popcorn machine from Sean Ziders. And we went to have our event for Halloween in the park, and the machine was not there. We thought someone stole it. I talked to the state police, and then talked to Sean Ziders, and he said that this guy here, called Sean, had him come down and get it. We were going to use that for the Halloween in the park. We had the popcorn already bought. I don't think he has the right to do that. And now we, the board, are asking that all members of RTCA is not allowed in the building. They can go to the park, but not in the building, because they're having various things disappearing. No accountability. They're a private organization. They don't have to account to anybody. So I wish you'd ask your solicitor about it and take the appropriate action. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Emergency management report, Mr. Cassidy, what do you got for us?
Well, I think it's probably appropriate to talk about winter issues. We're heading into the winter season, and winter in and of itself is a hazard that some people may be vulnerable to. Severe snowstorms or ice storms could cause difficulties to township residents. Power outages, particularly extended power outages, could cause problems. And so some of the challenges that we might face is having people isolated without power and making it difficult, the weather making it difficult for them to get out and get services, get to the doctor, whatever they might have to do. The resources that we have available, we have a number of reception centers and mass care centers in the township. The Glenville Church of God is one, Salem UM Church and Bethel UM Church. I think under certain circumstances, we might also use this building to at least get people out of the weather. So some of the issues that we might face are access to medicine or to medical care, where people can't get around because of the weather. Loss of heating systems or fuel, an extended period of time when fuel deliveries can't be made would isolate people and place them in danger. So we might have a need in instances like that to open care centers and to take care of people. And of course, there's the issue of transportation, getting to them, getting in and out. We typically rely on the emergency services in the area, the Shermansdale Fire Company, the Marysville Fire Company, and we also have the ability to contact county emergency management if we have difficulty pulling together the resources that we need to take care of people who have to be out of their homes because of the weather, or where we have to get to them and take care of them, probably get them out because of the weather, or maybe deliver some medicines or something like that. We do have an established process where we communicate with township residents. Your emails that you send out. If there is a circumstance where we have an active emergency, I think we ought to communicate with people in the best ways that we have available. So those are all issues that to be dealt with. So isolation, cold weather, medical care, need for four-wheel drives, snowmobiles, I think are probably our primary issues. And I think, as in the past, we will rely heavily on the emergency services, the fire companies, to provide the manpower and the resources and the vehicles to do that kind of work.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you ever, I'll make this short. I worked for PP&L for 40 years. Where we live here, we are the only radial feed of electric in the West Shore service area. That means there's only one source of feed for us.
Mm-hmm.
Our electric goes out, you're out. There is no alternate source of feed. Do you ever communicate with PP&L because I try every 4 months. Where I work, I go in and ask them, are you thinking about bringing another line in? Well, yeah, they were gonna come over the mountain, but they built a hospital. So they have to take that power to the new Hershey Hospital,
Right.
okay?
Well, yeah, I don't. I could, I would ask the supervisors.
I thought maybe if somebody, a position like yours or somebody would say to them, listen, this isn't a good deal. You can be out of electric for a week.
Right. We don't have a history of extended outages. I know
Well,
that some-
they don't have any people anymore either. They have contractors work,
Right,
you know? And they don't do anything overnight.
yeah.
You know, after 11 o'clock, everybody goes home, they could give a shit. All right?
That's it.
People in BNL right now are oxygen thieves, all right? But
I would ask the board if you would like me to contact BPL and find out, understand better what the issue is associated with
If
that.
you would, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
It's
Eric,
important.
are we the exception in that case, or is
We're the
everybody
only
that's
one.
kind of located like we
No,
are?
we are
you
the
know?
only single feed. When you come out the valley, that's it.
Well-
If down below the subway, a tree falls on one of them lines, you're out of electric. That's it.
Are you knowledgeable about it enough to know whether or not something could come in from the other end?
Well, that's what we were thinking, maybe they could come in from Sherman still, but they
Well, it
don't.
already does come in from Shermanville.
Yeah, but it doesn't hook together. It doesn't have three-phase hooked together.
Yeah.
That, it does not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not being smart with you.
No, that's fine, Eric.
Yeah.
Because I know the other
They're
end
not,
feeds the other way.
it's not something they're really, well, you know, we're not really,
Well, they're not interested in spending
they're
any
not
money.
interested in doing it.
Well, there's not a lot of us out here comparatively speaking.
You know, but there's a lot of, like he's saying, all the things on that he just spoke of,
Oh, yeah.
you know. I just,
They can be looked at. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Eric.
I'd like, personally, I'd like to look into that, see if we could speak to it. I could get you somebody you could talk to.
Yeah, that's
You and
fine.
Jim share.
All right?
That'd be helpful.
Okay, yeah, all right, thanks a lot.
Jim, can I ask you a question?
Maybe you do better than I did, because I'm not.
This Jim or that Jim?
Yes, sir.
Maybe I didn't hear correctly, but here it is, what it used to be. Did you say Marysville Church of God?
I did not, no. Glendale,
This is
Salem,
Glenville. I thought you said Marysville.
No.
I just wanted to correct that. We do have facilities here in Glenville
yes.
with public water.
Right, and I
Right,
think
we
that's
don't
our,
have public water.
that's
Yeah,
kind of
I
our
agree with
go-to,
you.
really. Glenville would be our go-to for
Okay.
opening.
Thanks, Eric.
And there are other
Something to look at.
facilities. And we can also fall back on the Red Cross. In fact, my expectation would be,
From municipal.
even if we open
This is
Glendale,
important to our
that
citizens.
we would
They
bring
can
the
do
Red
something
Cross
about
in,
this. Maybe somebody-
because they would actually take care of costs
You have to say something.
associated with opening up. The downside with Red Cross is that
Well,
that facility will have to be managed according to their standards. In fact, they may, if they are asked to fund or provide supplies, may want to put somebody in charge of that facility. So that's something to consider.
Well, we have supplies there, but in the major,
Yes,
I said, yeah, okay. I guess I misunderstood you.
yes.
Thanks, Eric. Jim? Bob?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to financial treasurer's report, Daisy.
Okay, the general checking account began with a balance October 1st of $214,809.40. We had a,
809.40.
did I say that correct?
809.40. Yeah, it's correct here.
Okay, all right.
Yep,
Okay, I'm sorry, I misspoke.
I may have misheard.
There was a check that was lost to the Boy Scouts for $100, and then that balance can go to $214. That was lost and reissued, so that's added back in. So it was voided, so it added the $100 back in. but it was taken out again in the expenditure, so it kind of cleared because that was last year's check, so it just zeroed itself out. So the balance was, with that lost check that was added back in, was $214,919.40. Receipts of $33,979.34. Expenditures of $113,390.38 in interest, leaving us a balance November 1st in the general checking of $135,665.79. And the balances normally do decrease this time of the year and continue to decrease until February, mid-February, the end of February, when the tax money starts coming back in again. The general checking at Penny and Bank had only interest activity and had a balance November 1st of $2,302.74. The American Rescue Plan funds began with a balance of $250,334.35, had interest of $27.04. On October 5th, we took out $100,000 to a CD, Easy Access CD, and then we also transferred $125,000 to a brokerage CD. That left us a balance in the rescue plan monies of $25,361.39. The general savings account had only interest activity, and this is the general savings at Bank of Landisburg, of $2,511.30. Liquid fuels checking had two receipts the beginning of October of $132,877.63 and $162,816.71, $58.66 in interest. And those two receipts were CDs that were deposited to assist with payment of the expenditures for the 2022 road projects. That gave us a balance of $295,753. A check was issued to New Enterprise for $295,000 on October 25th, leaving us a balance November 1st in the liquid fuels fund of $753. The liquid fuel savings account had only interest activity and had a balance November 1st of $2,665.08. So our liquid fuels funds pretty much came in, and we spent some of the reserves that we had been saving to do, I think, a rather large paving project this past year. Everything has been filed with PennDOT and everything is completed. I also wanted to tell you, I just recently had a liquid fuels audit, this past Friday, the Friday before, for a 2-year, and that was fine. I think it went through, I showed you my exit conference documents, and everything was fine, there were no findings. That's all I have for now.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Moving on to resolutions, resolution 22-32, transfer general savings CD from Bank of Landisburg to Mid-Penn Bank.
Okay, this is just a general savings CD. It's actually money that was in the general savings there, that 86% of it is general fund monies, 14% is solid waste monies, and it's getting 0.20%. So I want to pull that out, and we will easily recoup, I think it's $67, $68 penalty, and we will recoup that within 1 month. And I'm going to take it into Mid-Penn Bank at 4.10. Actually, it's gone up now. When I did the resolution, it was 4. It's 4.10 for 18 months. So that's what I would like to do, and it's actually making it closer for me to handle it.
0.2 to 4.10?
0.20 to 4.10.
Yeah, make that.
It's worth it.
Brad, that sounded like a motion.
That's a motion, yep.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion 2232 passes. Thank you, Daisy.
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
You're welcome.
Moving on to resolution 2233, transfer 22,500 of ARC funds to Easy Access Municipal CD at Penny and Bank.
Yes, now these are at Penny Inn, which is where I'm going to keep them, so they stay there and consistent until they are expended. But I'm putting them in CDs. The one I just read to you on the treasurer's report went into a brokerage CD. We stand to make out pretty well with those CDs. I want to take, you just heard me read this, slightly over $25,000. I'm going to take $22,500 and put it in an easy access CD. So if we would need it for an emergency or something, we can pull that right out. We'd have that 22,000 plus there's about 2,500. One of the main things that made me think about this is they dropped our interest rate because we pulled all that money out. We were getting around 1%, now we're getting 0.15. So I want to pull it out of there. It'll make a little over $300, but it's still a little better than leaving at 0.15%. So that's what that's for. I need a motion to do that.
Make that motion to approve resolution 22-33. Second?
I'll second.
That second, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2233 passes. On to resolution 22-34, adopt tax levy of .900 mils. That's the same as it's
That's the same as it has
for
been.
how long?
Over 30
Over
years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Thank you.
With everything that's increased, I think that the boards have done very well. I don't know where we're going to be in the future with the way things are going up. I mean, some things are doubling. It's what the diesel fuel, what was the other thing? The heating oil. That's doubled since last year.
Just list of
Everything.
things that have gone down.
Yeah, things that have gone down.
Pretty easy that way.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything. that's
Okay.
gone down.
Yep.
I'm hoping to get our unemployment down, but I haven't gotten the appeal back from PSAS, but that's pennies really, it's not a whole lot. But anyway, this is the same, I can read this for you. The millage is general purposes .59 mils. Fire protection is .16 mils. Ambulance is .02 mils. Library is .01 mils. Road equipment is .12. And that gives you a total of .90 mils.
I'll make that motion to approve resolution 22-34. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
John, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2234 passes. Thank you, Daisy.
Okay, I just need the chairman to sign that tax levy.
Moving on to resolution 22-35, adoption of the 2023 budget. Daisy, do you have any backstory on that, a summary, or?
Not really. It is a balanced budget. I think that it is conservative. I do believe the board has vision through it for some of the things that are in the future. Most of the reserves we have, even though they're not, they can be changed by resolution, most of it can. The tax levy cannot. That's a little bit more, that's very restricted funds. If you say it's going to road equipment and you're telling your residents that, that's what it needs to go for, that percentage. I have to keep track of that for the delinquent, the current, everything that has to be tracked. So we do keep track of that. I had a form, and from the get-go, all the tax collectors follow that form and the percentages, and it's posted that way in the revenues. So then quarterly, I send it out to the various ambulance supply companies. That's about all I have to say, other than I'm just really pleased that the board is able to continue to function with the inflation rate as it has been. And we're going to continue to get done what needs to be done. I know there's some wants, but they do happen occasionally. We have this art money that has really helped us out a lot.
Okay. John, you had a bunch of questions regarding the budget. The majority of them were opinion-based, and really they were your view of how the township's money should be spent, but there was a point of clarification. I think it had to do with how monies were accounted for. Kathy has been advising myself and also the board as in her accounting position, and I don't know if you had some clarification on that. It was a matter of how things were. They were the same number, but they were
The one clarification I can give you,
broken out.
John, is you asked about the road crew salaries being less than they were. that line item also includes the part-time labor guys that come in and plow and stuff.
Okay.
And it was determined that
So we're not using
we're
that?
not gonna use them as much.
Okay.
So that was decreased, so that
All right.
showed a decrease in that line item.
All right. Did you get a chance to look at that payments to fire company not equal to the taxes we got from the fire company or the ambulance?
I did not.
Okay.
I already had that.
All right. Because that, and then,
I just remembered the reason for that.
okay. Because that was the one, and then the other one being about the revenue section, how we had, it's the same number for the ambulance and library taxes are the same as between prior year and delinquent, but all the other ones aren't. So if they're percentage based, they would be different, so.
I don't have an answer for you on that, but
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification, Ken. Okay. With that said, adoption of the 2023 budget, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Brad, you making a motion?
I'll second.
Sean second. All in favor? Aye. Resolution 2235, adoption of the 2023 budget passes.
Okay, and the chairman and vice chairman sign. And I will put this on the website when I get it put in tomorrow.
Oh,
I'll
thank
take down
you.
the proposed and I'll put it on the official budget.
For that. Okay, approve the 3-year audit proposal with Smith, Elliott, and Kearns and Company.
I don't have a proposal. He just sent me an email. When we were talking to him, going back and forth a little bit about the different 3 years, it's a 3-year proposal. And for 2022 audit, which will be in 2023, we're always a year behind, is $13,500. 2023 is $14,200, and 2024 is $14,900. And that's the 3-year proposal. He did say once it is approved, he will put together an engagement letter and all the details with that.
Make a motion to approve that proposal. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I will notify Craig Whitmer. He's the partner that we deal with, and let him know that it is approved.
Thanks for that, David. Okay, announcements. There's a little bit, so where it says today, the trash collection delayed, that was actually.
That was last week, right?
That was
Yeah,
last week.
with the weather last week, we postponed, and that week, or that note
on there.
stayed on there, so you can disregard that. November 24th, 25th, and 28th, the township will be closed for Thanksgiving deer season. There will be no change in the trash collection schedule. December 6th, at 7:30 p.m. is the Planning Commission meeting. December 13th, at 7 p.m. is our regular Board of Supervisor meeting. Or not regular, but moved up. December 26th and January 2nd, the township is closed for Christmas and New Year's 2023. There's no change again in trash collection. And January 3rd at 7 p.m. will be our reorganization meeting. Moving on to approval and payment of the bills.
General fund checks 17496 to 17519 in the amount of $31,639.02. There were no expense checks voided. Payroll checks 8125 to 8129 in the amount of $4,439.35. Payroll checks 8130 to 8134 in the amount of $4,108.22. There were no payroll checks voided either.
Make a motion to approve payment of the bills. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Brad, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, second part of citizen participation. Do you have any at this time?
Did anybody sign?
Oh, I did for additional.
Go ahead, John.
All right, I was wondering, is there any update on all the things you sent to the township engineer or the solicitor?
Yeah. Regarding the Mountain Road pipe issue, I did speak with the solicitor just, it was last week. He reached out to the engineer at that time, and they are still waiting on significant rainfall. And the other issue is still waiting a response back from our solicitor as well.
Which one is that? Is that the payment in lieu of benefits?
It is.
Okay, and then, did you ever get anything from the engineer about the double yellow paint lines?
We did, and that was where there was I wish he was here because he could give a better explanation of it certainly than I can. The law was not, I don't know if I even want to speak on this. At this point, I'll wait until he comes. Yeah, I'll wait until he comes next time because there was a unclear, our own solicitor had said that there was kind of an ambiguous interpretation. We do have advice from him, but again, I'll wait until he comes and gives the backstory so that the full context is provided.
Okay, and that answer will be also through the engineer, or is that just him?
Well, it'll be through the solicitor.
Well, I knew you had sent it to the engineer, that's why I was wondering. Last
The line
month.
paying.
Yes.
Yes,
about the
and
line.
yes.
Okay, so it'll be
It'll be
through
through the solicitor.
both of them, through this, the solicitor will talk about it from the engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess the only other thing I have is since somebody accused me of doing something, I would like to respond to that about supposedly the popcorn maker issue. So, what that was about was the RTCA, who I'm a member of, had reached out to the township about having people that have items in that building, since we are not the only key holder, as an organization, we are not the only key holder of that building. So too is the township. So we are trying to cover ourselves. So we reached out to the township to say, here's a form that we would like anyone that has property in that building that is an RTCA to sign to make sure that they know that we are not the only key holder and to list what they have in there. Without response from the township after multiple attempts to coordinate or to get that document, without response, we knew who owned that popcorn maker. So I, because I was a Facebook friend of his at that time, currently I'm still, I had contact information for that person. I reached out to him to say, hey, we need this waiver, we have this waiver form, we would like you to sign it because we're not the only key holder. He then noted that I didn't know that was still there, and instead of signing the waiver form, he would rather have it back because he didn't know it was there, and he wanted it back. So, that's where it went. It was not stolen, it was not taken, and it was back in the hands of the property owner who wanted it, and we only reached out because the township did not reach out to him about this form. So that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I respond to that?
Sure, go ahead, Mark.
I personally talked to Sean.
And so did I. I personally
Yes,
had him.
and he did not request that machine. You requested to get that.
I won't get into an argument about it.
The Recreation Board never got a form to sign, and I still want you to look into that. Since the township is the leaser of that property, to keep these people out of it.
So we,
There are too many things disappearing.
I would like to let it be known that we as the RTCA are the owner of the building, but because of the lease that we have and past solicitors' decisions, the building is also is held by the township. So, we don't have ownership of stuff.
No, but you do have a key, so you can go in there at any time, sneak in, take things, because
For what reason?
I had purchased 3 propane tanks.
Yes, and how many keys does the township have of that building?
Yeah, let's
Anyway,
get into.
I don't need to get into a match for this, so.
We'll get advice from our solicitor on that.
Enough.
Yeah, I won't go any further with that. That's
take his little camera and get the hell out of here.
Okay, is there any other public comment at this time?
No.
Okay, hearing none, make a motion to adjourn this Board of Supervisor meeting.
I'll second.
Got a second, all in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, folks.
What time?
December 13th.
I have 7:50.
I am cool. I'm always cool. I am always cool. Unless I'm mad. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I forgot to, we'll enter this in, I just want to read it. Good to read this twice. From Mike Brew. Right, the email from Mike Brew. This was emergency management related also. I will not be able to attend the meeting tomorrow, but I will be there for the December meeting. I have to work tomorrow night at the Carlisle Fire Department. So, the winter tips I can think of would be to trim the trees in the driveway for fire apparatus to access. I'm guilty of that. Remind me to cut our trees there. Address signs make great Christmas gifts, and they get placed on the side of the street that the house is on, not necessarily at the mailbox. Have your chimney cleaned and inspected, and check batteries and smoke alarm, or make sure detector is not expired if it is a 10-year model. That's from Mike Marysville Fire Company. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm gonna pass that.
You can do
Okay.
that next month too. It'll
I
still
will.
be perfect.
That's good. Good info. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you said he couldn't come, I tried.